Hi, I'm Mark Thorburn and welcome back to Tuts Plus Introduction to Sony Vegas Pro. We now have a project that is looking more complete. In this lesson, we'll look at the finishing touches that will separate the project from a holiday film and turn it into a professional cinematic production. So this is where we left things last time. The timeline is pretty much complete. There'll always be tweaking to be done. It's slightly too long. We've done the music edits. And again, there's probably some tweaking there to make it shorter. But pretty much this is how the promo, the Czech Republic Prague promo is going to work. The major edits, as it were, have been done. What we need to do now is tidy up the entire look of the thing. This is straight out of camera, these images. They're not bad, but we need to create a particular feel. And what we're looking to do, first of all, is to make everything warmer. And the way to do that is with some color correction. And we do that in Sony Vegas Pro like this. You go to your video effects and you'll find them all listed down here. All the things you could possibly want and so much more as well, but color corrector is what we're going to go for. So we click on that, go to default, drag that and drop it on the first sequence that we're going to use, and then we're presented with low, mid and high and the usual color correction setup. And what we're looking to do, as I said before, I tend to use a split screen, so doing it on one screen is a little bit trickier, but we're looking to warm it up. So we'll start with the low lights here and we'll start taking things into this sort of territory. It doesn't make a massive difference that we can see there, but the midtones certainly will. That's it, start to warm them up. You can see that almost, I don't know, sort of late summer, autumnal kind of look that we're going for. You can see the changes that we've made there. And again, with the low, we'll do the same, similar kind of color. So that's what we're looking for. And if you hit this button here, you can see the difference. This is before, this is after. It looks much warmer than it did. A sort of late evening summer sunshine, if you like. So that's how you do the color correction. And what we're going to do is match that up through all of the scenes that we've got. So once again, click on the color correction, drop it into the sequence that you want to, and start putting those warmer colors in there in the lows, mids, and the highs. It's sort of yellowy orange, dusky color, not too red. It's more the yellow, I think, look that we want to get that. That's very nice. So we will go along and we will do all of the rest in exactly the same way. For the nighttime sequences, obviously these need to be treated in a slightly different way. We perhaps, again, want to bring out the yellows, but we don't want them looking exactly the same as we did for the daytime sequences. So this is what we've got. Let's see if we can, using the midtones here, just try and make that fire a little more vibrant. Not too green, obviously, so somewhere around there I think is quite nice. Let's have a look at the before and after. Yeah, it's given it an extra little bit of kick, possibly even go a little further than that. Yeah, there we go, before and after. And again, with the street performance section here, I think we would probably do the same. So stick some color correction in there and try and bring out the red/yellowness of the flame. Makes quite a nice glow. A little bit too red on his face there. Drop it back slightly. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's better. Makes the whole thing warmer. So the nighttime sequences, again, treated slightly differently, particularly where the fire is. And again, once we get to these static shots here, it's the warmth of the light that we're looking to bring out. So it's probably just in the mid-tones that we're going to try and do that. Too green, not too red. Yeah, probably around there somewhere. That's nice, just giving it a bit of a boost, making the light have more of a warm yellow feel to it. So there we go, that's the color correction done. You can also, of course, add anything else that you might want to add to it. You might want to add a little bit of brightness and contrast, perhaps, to sharpen up the scene. Something else that you can do, and that's adding lens flare. If you have a look down here, you should be able to find some lens flare. There we go, there's some lens flare. So some of those nighttime scenes there, what I did for the trail if we take this sequence here, you see these street lights here, you can add a bit of lens flare. So I'll take 35mm lens, drop it down in there. There we see you can move it around to wherever you want. Place it over the light there. It's far too bright, far too much going on, but you've got the intensity controls over here, so you can drop it right back like that. And again, it adds a nice extra touch because it's a static part of the shot. Just adds an extra bit of light there. And again, when you look here, there's plenty of light going on. You might want to add a little bit of lens flare perhaps there. I mean, I suppose the trick is not to use too much of anything. Maybe use that in the window there. Take the intensity right down. Just adds a little bit extra to it. And you can do all of that with all of the various effects that you've got here on the finished sequence at the very, very start. When it starts out like that, I think it's quite nice to have that start up out of focus and in focus. So we go to defocus again, just click on defocus, default, drop it on, completely out of focus there. So what we would do is take it down to how we wanted to start. Say maybe we wanted to start with that sort of focus there. By clicking there on the animate, you can put in a keyframe. So let's go back to the beginning and say as it fades in, we would like it to be in focus at that point. If you want it to be in focus at that point, what you would do is just drop it back and it's in focus. So when you spin it back, what will happen? Start out of focus and then it's in focus. Again, quite subtle. So when we play that through, it should look like this. And there we go. It's another one of the many, many effects on Sony Vegas Pro that you can use in order to enhance it. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is add in another video track, and we're going to add things on the top to add some texture. And the first thing that we're going to add is this little bit of stock photography, the postcard. So there we see the postcard is laid over the top. First thing we're going to do is make it the same default 16:9 size, so it covers the whole screen. And then from that, move it out, because what we're going to do is all we want is the carte postale and the stamp, and maybe these bits here as well, but certainly just those bits there to lay over the top. So we're going to use green screen in order to do that. So once again, we would go into the video effects, look at the chroma key, choose the default, take it down there, drop it on. It defaults to blue. So we'll click on the blue, take the eyedropper and use the source background color there. And instantly it has disappeared. Not in a very neat way, but it has done it. So we will change the settings until we are left with pretty much all we want, which is the carte postale. So that's pretty clean here. I mean, we've got the mess here still, but what we're going to do then is we're going to use a mask. So we click the mask there, and we will use down this side here. Cut out the area that we want to keep around where it says carte postale and the stamp. So if we do that, the rest of it should disappear. So there we have it. We have carte postale and we have it laid over, but we can use the position to move that around to pretty much cover the sky. Maybe make it slightly smaller by bringing it out there. So you get the idea of what we're doing. So we've got carte postale, we've got the stamp, and we've got the expanse there of Prague. So we need to match this up to what's going on underneath. So fade that in and match it up with the crossfade down here. Not quite there, a little bit more across. There we go. So when we play it, it will appear at the same with the carte postale. And then as we crossfade into the next scene, it'll disappear along with the view of the bridges here. But what we haven't done is stick the defocus on there. So again, we will go back to the defocus here, put that on there and match it up with the defocus that we have here. So again, using this so that we can anchor it to the timeline. So we want it out of focus to match what's happening with the background. Out of focus, out of focus, out of focus, out of focus, and it's pretty much back in focus there. So we want that to come in focus at that point. So keyframe, there we go, back, and it is in focus. So when we play that, that should work in sequence with the bridges below. All using chroma key to add that atmosphere. Next thing we're going to do is to insert another video track. More texture is coming in, back to the project media, and we have this. This is old paper. It is a still photograph of old paper, but again, what this is going to do is age the image. So we put that over the top like that, and then we make it 16 by 9 to match the project, so it covers the whole thing. And using the opacity, you see, we can bring it down so that it just starts to cover over. So we've got the carte postale, we've got these little bits of dirt and grit that are on the paper that creates that whole image, and also the color of the paper as well has helped with that aging and warming of the image. And then it fades out and goes into the next shot of the Charles Bridge. So what we're going to do next is add some lens flare. And these are light leaks lens flares. So again, we need another channel there. Back to our project media up here. And you'll see the lens flare adding this sort of bokeh effect. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. So we're going to add that in there as well. Just get rid of the audio track because it has no audio attached to it, that it's thrown in with it. And there it is, right there. And what we're going to do, because we're going to add various sections of these, is we're actually going to change the nature of this track and make it screen so that it goes straight away to the source and removes the background without the need to chroma key it. And again, we can change the opacity here like this to create the right kind of effect that we're looking for. That's very nice. And this is something that as we go along the entire timeline, we're going to be adding texture, we're going to be adding lens flare, light leaks, all of that kind of stuff laid over the top to create the mood that we've been looking for. So here you can see the final sequences with the paper that we've been using as texture there, light leaks, lens flares, adding some text here as well in order to identify the postcard from Prague, and again the same on the end. And it is the finished sequence, which should play through something like this.
And there you have it, the finished postcard from Prague in your timeline, created in Sony Vegas Pro. In the next lesson, we'll look at how to render your project to the required format. I'm Mark Thorburn, thanks for watching.